Hey, g'day there, love.
Sorry, g'day, love.
How you going?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
That's
How are
good.
you going?
Yeah, I'm going well. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to our podcast number two today.
Yes, our second podcast.
Yes. So I might, yeah, just introduce us again, just for those who haven't seen our first podcast. Welcome to Big Sister, Little Sister. I am Jack, and this is Kylie. I am Big Sister. Kylie is Little Sister. And yeah, we have walked life together, and quite often, well, most of the time, we actually have had these conversations, in private. But now we've decided that, it might be nice to have some discussion around some of these points. In our first episode, we actually touched on many points. And we've decided that we'd like to discuss the year of the fire horse, as that is just about to change over on February 17th, which is next week. So, love, let's maybe talk about, the year of the fire horse and kind of, where it's at, I guess, from an astrological perspective, as well as, from this, Chinese astrology perspective of what the fire horse actually means, in this year.
Well, I think that, following on from last week, we were talking about, um, how women actually have to be in their masculine these days. And the fire horse is a yang fire horse, so it is very masculine. It's forward moving and it's fast.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that for us as the feminine, we absolutely need to, like we were talking about last week, we need to walk. We can't run. We can't gallop the whole way this year.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I think from what I've seen in, some of the different podcasts and things that I follow, that there is so much masculine energy in this year. It's not only the planets moving into 0 degrees, which is all fire element, which is a masculine element. And also, I believe the horse is also a masculine element. So, there is so much masculine energy around us, which is so positive because it moves things forward. It's a very action, it's
Yes,
very passionate. You've got a lot of these, sort of fiery energies. And what you were saying last week was, which was all about containment of your energy. So
that's right.
containing
Yeah.
the energy. So
Yes,
I think that, that is a very good point. But also back to what I was saying, which I think, for me, it was more about creating a balance and then bringing my feminine into this balance. So, due to the fact that, we are in so much of a yang masculine energy this year, that it really is quite paramount that us as women, we do find these balances between, our masculine, our feminine, and to have that integration because of
absolutely.
the fire horse, the containment of that energy, more balancing with our male and female, bringing our feminine to the table in ways that, is about the containment of the energy, which you've spoken about.
Well, what's interesting as the fire horse comes in on the new moon, and which is actually an eclipse. So we're having an
Yeah.
eclipse right on this changeover of like, you know, into the fire horse, from the snake into the fire horse. So we've shed, and now we're moving into action. We're moving forward. But what's actually happening is Venus is exact on the North Node. So that actually brings in the feminine aspect. And that, the North Node is the future. And
Mm.
Venus is the feminine, it's relationships, it's, receiving. So I think that actually sets us up for a really good balance, as you were talking about.
Yeah.
We need to stay in our feminine during this year, and we need to balance that with our masculine, which we're forced to be in, every day.
Mm. Well, the thing is with the fire horse, I believe it's part of the balance and the containment is building the momentum. I touched on last week about, the horses have, a few gaits. So, realistically, we can't go from walking to a gallop and to be able to sustain that on so many levels. And particularly with us being in the feminine,
Yeah.
as in living feminine, as in we are females, is what I'm saying. That this is, what is the feminine energy? What does the yin energy, bring to the table? And it's that sort of, I guess, that intuition, the sensitivities, emotional awareness, it's these sorts of things that I guess is good to keep, at the forefront to try and then balance, all of this masculine energy,
Well,
but
the
then using
yin,
it.
the
Mm,
yin are crystals. It's the earth. Our Mother
aha,
Earth is
yeah,
the
of course it is.
yin.
Yeah, yeah,
And, being silent, receiving in the darkness, that's all yin energy.
yeah,
Mm.
right. Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, also, I think what happened, ultimately it is about for us in this fire masculine year is for the feminine to really honor and find that rhythm. So yeah, we do need, to rest, restore, don't overdo it, particularly when
Yes.
like, we've spoken about with women who are doing, wearing so many hats and that
Yes.
are doing, multitasking on many levels. So, it is about, I guess, taking those positive aspects of the fire year, horse year, so it's sort of like it's sort of, not being anxious. It's sort of, I guess, sitting more in our joy. It's sort of, that optimism to look, to the future, knowing, that we can achieve, we can create this balance. We know when our bodies and our hearts and our minds are ready to go to the trot. We sit in that for a bit. We get ourselves limited. We get work fit. We get whatever motherhood fit. We get whatever it is that we need to get fit. We're sitting in a new zone and we're working on that. So that's kind of how I see it. And as the year progresses, it is about the containment of the energy and gaining the momentum, with all of that
Yeah.
without being out, without being too hot. And looking back, in history, when we have seen women, particularly within that aren't necessarily or are fire horses, probably are fire horses, being more to the point, those women are extremely strong. They will stand against a masculine. They will make big changes. And while we need these women on front line, it is bringing the true feminine to the foreground.
Mm.
So, it is about that balance with our masculine, counterparts. So, and, whether you're single, you're not, we're dealing, with that other masculine every day.
Yeah, exactly. And just to say that the fire horse women are turning 60 this year.
Ah, wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
You actually return to your sign in your element after 60 years.
Right. I see. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Well, look, I mean, particularly with the astrological, change with the eclipse on the 17th, and where that's also sitting with all the, Aquarius placements as well, is, a big turning point, I think, for, humanity from what I can see.
Absolutely. It's a revolution. It's changes, big, big changes. And because of the 0 degrees, we've got Saturn and Neptune both at 0 degrees. Aries, which is the beginning of the zodiac, that's new beginnings. And then we have Pluto that's already in its new sign Aquarius, which is,
Mm.
revolution, and the
Yeah,
future. We're
same.
moving towards the future rapidly with the fire horse riding us through. But yeah, it's also the expansion of consciousness. I think the fire horse is going to bring, because if you think about it, when humans first teamed up with horses, they were suddenly able to see new horizons. They were able to go further than what they ever
Yes.
did on foot. So, that actually expanded the consciousness of humans. But
Yes,
the other
exactly.
thing, the other thing to do with the horse is that it's all heart centered. The horse has a very big heart.
Yeah,
They
that's right.
feel, they feel more than they think. They're much more intuitive.
Yeah,
So,
very much so.
that they
Extremely
actually have
sensitive
these
horses are.
feminine
Mm.
aspects as well.
Yes, look, they do very, very much. And each horse that I have, ever known has had this really angelic, gentle, shy, unassuming, sort of, a bit timid. And it's, also, with the ways that you first, approach a horse or first start to connect with a horse. You don't walk up to them like you would a dog. It's more about sort of like almost you're turning your back on them. You're not looking at them, allowing them to approach you, in their own safe way. So yes, a lot of those things that I've just said actually are very feminine, and are feminine qualities. So, the horse is a beautifully majestic, gentle, largely timid animal, that does have enormous power and enormous strength.
Yes.
So, and yes, couple that with fire and being horses, being a flight or fight animal. Yeah. When they see danger, which
Yeah,
would be represented as fire, I mean, yeah, they're going to take off very quickly. So that's where it is about that pacing yourself. And I guess, for me, with so much that's doing, it's easy to sort of, yes, commence, be on a really good momentum and getting things going, but not becoming overwhelmed. So it is then getting that balance of looking after yourself, getting off the computer, going outside, doing some grounding, doing your breath work, getting a bit of sun. I mean, even if you're working in an office environment, it's really important, to have that awareness around just, cleansing the energy, grounding yourself, so you can keep going.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
the key is not to burn out this year.
Yeah. Totally. Totally not to
Because the
burn out.
energy is just going to go. We're going to be going
Mm.
forward, no, whether we
Mm.
like it or not, whether we're on the horse or not.
Yes.
And yeah, we need to contain our own energy so that we
Yes.
can, pace ourselves through big changes that I think are probably coming. The
Yes.
dissolving of structures, which we're seeing all over the world,
Yes.
as well as in our own lives. I mean, what are we dissolving in our own lives? So,
Mm.
personally, we're coming up for very big changes. And I think it's all about, being in your own power, being aware of when, things are going too fast, that
Mm.
we need to bring it back, come back to the canter or come back to the walk, you know.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Come back. Yes. And, when horses rest, often, they don't really sleep either, which is a very interesting thing with
Right,
horses.
don't they?
So, doing the meditation, doing the breath work, being in these states where, okay, you might not be having that long, deep sleep because a lot's going on. There's a lot of energy, and particularly that masculine energy of action, doing, come on, let's get it going, let's go. When you do rest, it is making sure that you've got that space where you can give yourself, whether it's, only, 20-minute, a power nap, getting out and going for a walk, jumping on your jumper. It's that sort of thing that,
Mm,
I'm gonna, well, that's what helps to balance me. And
yeah,
when I actually do step away from work often, just to give yourself that little bit of a break every few hours, you integrate what it is that you're doing. I know that when
that's
I
right.
push,
Yeah.
when you're actually, when you're really pushing, when you've got all the platforms, your computer's, hot, it's using all of its fans, that it's sort of, and, it's sort of just, it's back to that pacing, taking that little bit of time away to sort of recalibrate. Then it all falls in most of the time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, Well, I've been finding lately that I've been taking myself off to meditate during the day, whereas normally I'll go, no, I'll do it at night before I go to sleep or in the morning when I wake up. But I've I've been very sensitive to myself to say, okay, you need to stop now, go and ground, go and I find myself doing meditations throughout the day. So I can
Mm,
do, 3 meditations in one day
yeah,
these days, which
yeah.
is very beneficial for me. And I'll tell you a
How
little
long do you do
story.
them for? How
Uh,
long do you do them
it
for?
depends. Some of them are half an hour. Sometimes it's just 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So, your 10-minute ones are really good. It depends on, what is going on, I guess. But I'll tell you a
Mm.
little story. I went with Hari to Pack Fair on the weekend. And
Yes.
so here we are shopping with all these people under the lights, like all the energy, the sirens were going off, the fire alarm. It was just like, oh, I'm not used to going shopping in big shopping centers. I'm just not used to all of this energy. I'm not used to all the people. And by the time we got home, I just went, oh, what am I missing? I'm missing something. And I went, I know what I'm missing. I'm missing myself. I'm missing my connection to myself. So
Mhm.
I went and got some water and I came out into the yard and I sat in the yard and I drank my water and I actually laid down on the earth and I connected back to myself. And it was just like, oh, that's better. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
because when you do so much meditation and you are connecting with yourself, um, it's you miss it. It's like, oh, I
Mm.
need to meditate now. It's like, you know, it's good.
Yes, well, but this is the thing, when we are in public spaces, when we're not necessarily with loved ones or, people that we're close to, we end up, our energy becomes quite fragmented because there's so
Right.
many energies, to deal with when we're out and about. And I think, particularly when you are doing a lot of personal work, or some personal work, or you have, personal care rituals that you do on a daily basis, yeah, you do sort of, I guess, have the awareness around the scattered energies and, how it does actually, make you feel quite exhausted when you
Yeah.
are in a space that, is where the energies are, not grounded or it's just a lot of people, together. So yeah, it's good to get in and out, but as long as you got what you were going to get, you and Hari.
Yeah, that's it. We did. We had our list and we went and did it, and that was all good. And then, we jumped in the car and came home again. But it fries you. It fries
Yeah.
me. It
Yeah,
just
I know. I
completely,
understand.
and especially with the alarms going off, like, everybody's looking at each other. What's happening now? Like, do we have to leave? But
Yeah.
yeah, they were saying
Right.
it's okay. You don't have to, um, you
Be
know,
alarmed.
yeah, don't be alarmed. It's a fault in the system or whatever. And but it was like I'm walking around with my ears blocked.
Really?
It
Wow.
was just frying my nervous system. So anyway, yeah, by the time I got home,
You
I
needed
was
a swim on the way home.
yeah, but we forgot our swimmers. Otherwise, we would have. But yeah,
Mm,
swim would have been perfect. I went for a
yeah.
swim on Sunday, and that was just magnificent. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
The
Yeah,
swim
yeah,
of the
yeah.
season.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. No, it's beautiful. It's really a beautiful time of year. That is for sure.
Yeah,
Here in Australia. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, this eclipse, I think, is going to be pretty full on. It's square
Yeah.
to Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius, which is another confirmation that we're moving into the future, like it or not.
Yeah, right.
Another
Mm,
thing for dramatic changes, sudden changes. So, we could see some things happening of which, on a global scale, as well as
mm,
within ourselves, shocks to
mm.
the system. So we need to be prepared for this. And I think
Yes.
that crystals can help you to prepare because, we need to regulate our nervous system. And crystals, because they're grounding, you can, get into your crystals so that you can help to.
Your personal rituals. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
We're going to need them. Well, we need them
Yes.
now, right?
Yeah.
Eclipses are wild cards, so anything can happen. And
Yeah,
especially,
right.
square to Uranus, where, this is big stuff. But it can also be really, really good. You can get sudden great news. And with it being
Well,
on the, North Node eclipse where, that's another indicator that we are moving to the future. Things
mm.
are changing, things are breaking down.
Yes, it's going to interest me how Saturn will be in Aries for this enormous Saturn cycle that we've all lived through. And I mean, us as Aquarians, like we're ruled by Saturn, but then we also have Uranus, we're a Uranus rule sign. So that is for the Aquarians out there, is going to be interesting, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Well, with Neptune going into Aries, it's like
Yes.
action on the dream now. It's like the dream can become the reality if you work on it and move forward.
Yeah,
And
right.
then now
Nice.
with Saturn moving into Aries, it might actually hold up some of this really fast energy. It might actually slow us down a little,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
we'll see what happens though. Aries is action orientated as well, so
Yes,
we're
very much so.
yeah,
Fire
time to
element.
move
Yeah.
forward,
Yes.
time to
Yes.
sit in our truth.
Yes. But it's also that number 1 year too. After us coming out of a 9 year snake,
Right.
which we're in the last week of that, we're now in a fresh number 1 year. So that's another cycle that is actually new and
Yeah,
starting.
yeah,
We've gone through the full, numerology, cycles each year, and our number 1 year, is about new beginnings, actually,
yeah,
and is about sort of, and that is not only on a global galactic level, but also on a personal level, as it is above as below. So, yes, a number 1 year can, be, obviously have its challenges, but it's probably a really good time to get going on the things that you really want to,
yeah,
the things that are really calling you, that your passion projects,
yes.
things like this. Particularly also in a fire horse year, I think that, it's a good time to try and be independent in the sense of, self-employment, those sorts of things. Yeah.
Well, it is about self. Aries is about I am,
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
and
Yeah.
the number one is about unity, it's about self.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
it's where it all begins.
But self in a unity way, you just reminded me of that. There is no separation. And
That's
and
it.
there, well,
Yeah.
there is separation and there is division. But this is where this unity consciousness is kind of, I guess, more at the forefront now. And because we're stepping into a year one, we've got this Aries thing as you're talking about. It is being about that awareness of the community, of the greater things that need to be achieved, fairness, restoring balance in the world, these sorts of things, having, governance that is for the people, by the people. It's things like this that I think that we have the opportunity to change on a global level. But it all does actually start with us here first. And it
Mm,
is that deeper connection. It's not making your discernment in your head. It's having that discernment in your heart.
that's it.
So while we need to think with our heads, yes, and we need to make decisions with that, I think the ultimate thing is that our hearts every time tells us immediately whether something is right or something is not right.
Yeah, and that also
So
comes back to the fire
they're
horse as well, is that, horses
highly
are from
intuitive
the
horses.
heart.
Yes, and highly intuitive.
So it's
So it's
about
listening to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's certainly a heart-led year. Lead with our
Yes.
hearts in unity and
Yes.
expect the unexpected and move forward in your truth
Yes.
and
Yes.
contain your energy
Empowerment.
whilst you do it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot in that list, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
But, focus, a bit of discipline, I guess, will get us there.
Exactly, exactly. And
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's focus and discipline and leading from the heart.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And the discernment. Anyway, it's sort of, listening before responding, managing the self, back to the self-mastery. It's sort of, giving yourself that time and space to do what it is that you need and then hit it when you need to. Yeah, it's exciting. So, when you're looking, I guess, at all of these energies that we've kind of talked about, when I guess I was just thinking about it earlier when you look at the big sister, little sister scenario within this type of year, I was having a few thoughts, and that was like a big sister energy would be more about boundaries, pacing, perspective, maybe discernment. And then
Protection,
a little, pardon, protection.
protection,
Yep. Excellent one. I'll add that one to the list.
because
And
you've
then
always
maybe,
been extremely protective of me
oh,
as the
yes.
little sister. You've
I have.
always
Yes. Yes.
been, the protector.
Yes, yes. And I think that's a very natural firstborn thing, whether you're male or female. But yes, certainly
Yeah,
in a big sister role, I think that you stay as a big sister when you're young. It's not until you develop into adults that the roles can change.
yeah,
I mean, that
yeah,
may not be in every single scenario, but possibly in a lot. But I feel that the little sister, possibly the other side to things for this year with the little sister could be things more like courage, having, the new beginnings, and having the courage to start those new beginnings.
yeah.
It's about play. So you're actually enjoying what it is that you're creating and putting out there. And curiosity, it's sort of like it is very feminine. Well, I guess not feminine, but maybe more little sister to, be more curious.
Nice.
So rather
Yeah,
than the action in the big sister.
yeah,
So yeah, I quite liked that sort of, correlation. And I guess it's again having that balance within that big sister
yeah.
and the little sister.
Exactly,
So yeah,
exactly.
I quite like that. Mm.
Yeah, yeah, I do too. Because,
Yeah.
coming back to the fire horse, I mean, it is all about balance with,
Well, you
horses.
got to stay in your saddle, don't you? You
Yeah, exactly.
got to stay on
Yeah,
for a start.
yeah,
So, and actually, when you're horse riding for those riders, you've got to have balance
yeah,
and balance in actually each part of your body. You've
yeah.
got to have good posture and you've got
Yes,
to be able to breathe, right? So, you're not only using one part of your body, you're not just using your hands to hold on, you're actually using your seat. So you're sitting in your saddle, you're right in there, you've got your legs wrapped, but they're gentle, holding your horse gently. You're not pulling your horse.
yeah.
So it's those sorts of things that I guess that metaphor instantly translates into this year. It is
But
sitting in your saddle and
also,
having that
it's
balance.
also with a horse, it can be like telepathic as well. So, like, you connect
Yeah,
with your horse, so you don't have to pull the reins and kick hard, and it's a connection so that you can be gentle.
totally, totally.
And they say that if you want to stop your horse from galloping, you imagine a wall in front of the horse
Right.
and the
I
horse
haven't heard of
stops.
that.
Yeah, it's about connection and about, being telepathic and about, being gentle and minimum force rather than forcing and,
It's not about doing more, actually.
yeah,
It's about doing what's true, what's right. And
right.
and that's really nice. But yeah, I quite like the metaphor of, the actual riding of the horse. I mean, you do need to be in your saddle,
Yeah,
and have the balance to be able to ride the horse well. So, if you need to pick up the pace, well, then you can do it. If you need to slow him down, well, you can do that too. So, it's exciting. And to think that we're almost in the middle of, February now with our birthdays, this week.
yay, our birthdays.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, our birthday's this week, love. So another year, ticks by and, here we are. So yeah, happy birthday, love.
Oh, happy birthday, love. For those of you who missed the first session, our first podcast, we have our birthdays on the same day, 3 years apart.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So,
amazing, isn't
so we're
it?
connected. We're deeply connected.
Yes, yes, with many placements that are very similar. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's very exciting. And on this actual very, very day that we're recording this podcast, that I actually have my strongest planet, which is exact with Venus, today.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, that's
You
very
you have
nice.
Venus on Venus today.
I do. I have Venus on Venus. Well, I hope I'm looking good and feeling good.
Yeah, gorgeous. Completely gorgeous. I had
Yeah.
Venus on my Venus the other day.
Yeah,
So
very
I'm
nice.
still in the Venusian energy as well.
Oh, it's just lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, very nice. Well, let's continue to bring it on. Well,
Yes.
love, it has been so nice chatting with, you again, face to face. It's been lovely. And to also, chat about, some of these things that are happening, as from next week, really,
Yeah.
with the year of the fire horse. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I'm looking forward to our next episode as well.
Yes.
So, yes, congratulations, love. We've done 2 episodes now.
Yeah, thanks. And right back at you, love. It's,
Yeah.
it's been
Thanks,
very
love.
nice. And I'm sure we will get better and better at them.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Well,
will.
listen, thank you everybody for joining us here today. We've certainly enjoyed having a quick chat about the fire horse and some other things. So yeah, look forward to connecting with you on our third podcast. And, please subscribe to our channel, like and share if you like our content. Well, thanks again, love. And, I'll catch you again on the next episode.
All right. Thanks, love.
See ya.
See you. Bye.
Bye.